Hi, and welcome to BND TV. We have created a series of talks for you entitled The Secrets of Sleep and Success. We are on a mission to empower 1 million people or more harness the awesome power of sleep to dramatically improve the quality of their lives. We hope you enjoy. Hi everyone, welcome to one more episode of Secrets of Sleep and Success. And today we have got Bhavana Bindra, and she is the managing director of a German multinational company for the South of Asia. And it is always a pleasure to talk to her. She's a great friend, and she's promised to ask me some really interesting questions. So let's get on with it. Bhavana, welcome.
Thank you, Bava. I will start by saying the first time I heard about your book, I was like, oh my God, this is a very touchy topic. And like I was sharing earlier, my 12-year-old will tell you how touchy sleep can be for mama and how I get like a roll of eyes in my household the minute I'm talking about, oh, last night's sleep. And they're like, can we not get that topic started again? We've had enough of it. We will tell you exactly what happened. In fact, I will tell you, there was a time my husband used to make fun of me. And of course, he shouldn't know that I said this here, but he said, you've got like a bill of materials because I come from the manufacturing sector. He said, you've got a bomb of what constitutes good sleep. So when I first heard about a book that's talking about sleep, and of course, what is important to all of us, which is success in whichever way we define success, I was like, now that's what it is. And you won't believe it. This was the first, and I don't know if it's going to be the last, but I'll wait for more from you, Baba. But it was the first book that I read in less than 24 hours.
What are you saying?
I mean, the first of all, the content was so close to my heart. The topic, its content, and the way you write, which is exactly the way you speak, which is like, it's just one thing after another. So once you are hooked, you are there, and you're like, okay, just bring it on, just bring it on. And I was there, and I'm like, did I really do it? So I thought I had suddenly honed my reading skills, despite all the cat and the I am that happened. It didn't happen 20 years ago, but it seemed to have happened now. And I'm like, did I seriously achieve this? Did this actually happen? So thank you for making it happen for me, because that was like a milestone for me. In fact, the related joke when I told my family about it was like, my mom's like, I don't even remember you finishing a Mills and Boons in your tween years. I mean, let's call it tween. I don't want to say I read it in teenage because everybody else is going to laugh about it. Like, seriously, you were a teenager when you did your Mills and Boons. But yes, even those didn't finish as fast as this did.
Great.
But
That's
yes,
nice to
it
know.
was.
Many times I don't know whether I should be happy or whether I should be sad because it takes 2 years to write a book and you finish it in 24 hours. Read it a little slower.
No, but then I will do what my daughter says. She's like, no, I need to get past, so she reads, I forget this, Percy Jackson or something. So
Yeah.
she's like, I mean, she gets one. And I am like, okay, when I used to get a new book, I would like relish each and every page and make sure I got it all in my head before I moved on to the next one. And here's this 12-year-old who will do it in like 24 hours. And I'm like, no, I'm not buying you a book every day. You're supposed to like go slow,
Oh, but
absorb.
Percy Jackson is such a racy, novel. Even I finish it in like 24, 48 hours.
Seriously? Okay, now I need to try it. But yeah, anyways. So then she said, no, I will read it again.
Yeah,
I
that's
will
what
read
I.
it a few times.
Yeah, you
And
need
then I
to know the
see that.
ending and then you can kind of enjoy it.
Exactly. So she needs to get to the end, and then she chooses which sections she will revisit. So
Right.
I think that's what happens with your books, Baba. Once I have the nice warm copy in my hand, it's like, okay, let's focus on what I wanted to know more on. What I said, yeah, I'll come back to this. Let me absorb it later. So no, it finishes in 24 hours, but one needs and wants to get back
That's nice to
to
know.
it. So that's how I see it. But yeah, anyways, so to be honest, when I first saw it, and I got past my touchy topic syndrome on it. I said, okay, let's see what Bava's got. I mean, he's figured out a lot of things which I haven't, and I'm sure this is one more which I'm sure I will learn from and gain from it. And believe me, as I read through it, there was a ton of things which I'm like, yeah, I can set this right. And yeah, maybe it'll work. And yes, this can be done. Okay. So now all of that is my good, logical, optimistic self, but that's a very small part of me. So my mostly cynical, pessimistic self will be like, yeah, these are good things to do, but you know what? I think I've tried some of this in the past, and this thing I tried, and that thing I tried, and this won't work. I mean, I'm different. It won't work. Okay. And sometimes you just have this feeling, okay, so let's say about the thing around, okay, what do we eat before sleeping, how much earlier do we eat before sleeping, that kind of things. And I'm like, I've tried this, and will it really work? So that whole cynicism started coming in me. And somehow I also feel the more cynical you are, the more things will not work. So, Baba, to me, I'm sure I'm not the only one. And a lot of people, depending on generation and maybe what else they do in life, have that feeling on, okay, does this really work? Will it really help? And how long do I need to try for it to start helping me? So, what can you help us with, Baba, on all those?
So I can guarantee you that it will work. Mm. I myself went through a terrible, terrible bout of insomnia. In fact, that's how this book was born. I did not want to resort to any sort of allopathy. I wanted to sort it out by myself. So, ironically, the nights that I couldn't sleep, I would sit and research about sleep. That's one thing I learned doing a, MS in mathematics from IIT. I know how to do research. So I just sat and read all sorts of journals, all sorts of white papers. I ordered, I think, 12 or 15 books by various authors who claim to be experts on sleep. And then I picked the things that I felt would work for me. And I started experimenting on myself and on a few other people I knew who had trouble with sleep. When I started saying I have trouble with sleep, suddenly there were so many people, who, yeah, actually, even I have trouble with sleep. People don't talk about it. Like, you have been meditating 30 years. How come you have bad sleep? It was like a taboo topic to talk about even in our art of living circles. And once I started saying, man, I cannot sleep and it's really screwing up the quality of my life, other people started saying it. And so we kind of figured out, number one, that our meditation was what was keeping us sane. It was what was keeping us functional, even though we were not able to sleep. Of course, quality of life was at an all-time low, but at least we were functional. And
Mm,
it was at that time that I thought, no, I need to fix this. I'm not going to I'm not going to a sleeping pill. I'm not going to do none of that. And then I really read and read and read and read. And Sleep Your Way to Success is the Hindi में बोलते हैं ना निचोड़ of all the things that I read and I experimented on myself and so many other people, and where we saw like really dramatic results. Something that we started doing and we said, oh my God, in 2 nights, 3 nights, 5 nights, I can feel that I'm sleeping so much better. So these are tips and techniques which are, as you said, very simple to do. They are not they are not rocket science. You're not being asked to do shirsasana and and drink water while you are doing that. They are simple stuff, but they need a kind of a commitment and
mm,
and a little bit of patience to implement. And
mm,
I think the most important thing was for me was I really wanted to be all right. I wanted to be myself again.
mm,
Uh, you know, and one thing I can tell you on this, Bhavana, is instead of thinking of, I need to sleep better, I need to, eat earlier, I need to eat regularly, more healthy food. Instead of saying all that, instead of making them like goals that you need to achieve, adopt an identity.
mhm.
I said to myself, I'm going to be a fitter, healthier person than I have ever been in my life. And
mm.
this year I am 52, and I can say with full confidence that I am healthier and fitter than I was at 35. Seriously.
Wow.
And as soon as I adopted that identity, saying that I am a fit, healthy person, right?
Mm,
Then it became very easy to say no to stuff that fit, healthy people don't do,
mm,
right? Otherwise, it was always, okay, yeah, I need to lose some weight, but come on, yeah, it's so and so's birthday, I'll have to have that cake, right? But a fit, healthy person is going to be able to say, yeah, it's your birthday, you please have. Do you get what I'm saying?
right, right,
So
right.
a fit, healthy person is not going to do like a 1 a.m. late night, regardless of. In fact, it happened with this book. It was supposed to come out in November. It's coming out in January.
Mm,
I said it's a book about sleep. It's a book about health. It doesn't make sense that I mess up my health and my sleep to get it out on time. It's okay. It can be delayed. It doesn't matter,
right, right,
right?
right.
So I started taking really, really life positive decisions,
Mm,
and everything somehow kind of fell into place. So my invitation to you and to all the people who are watching is adopt an identity. I am a yogi. A yogi meditates every day. It's it's a no-brainer. I'm a great mom. A great mom is really going to have time to spend with her kids, right? So when you adopt an identity, it becomes very easy to say yes and no. It becomes very easy to take decisions.
mm,
Whereas if we are continuously following up with a goal, I want to lose 5 kilos. You lose 5 kilos, you put them back on because you are not a fit, healthy person to begin with,
mm, 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 mm.
right? So this I found very, very useful for me personally.
So you don't take them as like this list of actions that needs to be done. You just make it a part of yourself with an ultimate goal
Right.
of being this fit and healthy person. So it's just a different way of
Correct.
kind of motivating yourself rather than compelling yourself to do
Correct.
things which are
Correct.
not in.
Correct.
Right, right, right.
See,
There's
like Baba, it is, we say, I have a lot of integrity. So there are certain things, even in your professional life, nobody will even dare to ask you to do.
mm,
Because they know it's a no. You will not do it. It's as simple as that,
right,
right? Because that's your identity.
right.
Whereas a person with more fluid morals, okay, इधर थोड़ा दे दो तो हो जाएगा अपना काम,
Manage
manage
हो
हो
जाएगा.
जाएगा. But you know that like with Baba or with Bhavana or many people that
Whoever,
know,
yeah,
managing is not an option. It doesn't work,
right,
right?
right, right, right. Yeah. True, true, absolutely. So, Baba, just a small related point. A lot of times, normal people like us, I mean, you and me, we may have like some physical discomforts or issues. And what ends up happening is you tend to blame your lack of quality sleep on that. So it's like, yeah, I did everything, but this happened, and that is why this is where I am. And but this seems to happen quite often. And then it becomes a reason that despite doing everything and despite believing that I'm doing everything a fit and healthy person does, because of these buts that keep happening all the time, I am suffering. And hence, again, back to that same cynical old self, nothing can be done, and I need to resort to
Yeah.
something.
So you have to realize also that if you want to be say fit and healthy at 52, you can't begin at 51. It's a journey, right? Uh, I really, I told you I had this insomnia. Then before that, I had a terrible panic attack, a series of terrible panic attacks. Throughout that whole time in my life, I was really saved with my sadhana, with my meditation. I became super regular with my sadhana and meditation. At the same time, because these things were happening, nature was forcing me to clean up my life. Fortunately,
Mm,
like I say, I am an intelligent person, so I listen to nature, and
mm,
I actually did clean up my life. I have to admit that there were times when I would think of making dinner at 1 a.m. Yeah, so I have really abused my system, and
mm,
it's not that I stop abusing my system today and tomorrow I'll become absolutely all right. No, it takes some
mm,
time. So it took me 5, 6, 7 years of really adhering to routines, really adhering to habits to come to where I am now, right? But I will say that at this point in my life, I don't have to be as fanatic about things as I used to
Hmm.
be, because now things are in control. I can cheat once in a while.
Hmm.
I can have a late night movie once in a while. It doesn't affect me,
Hmm.
right? So, quality of life के लिए, if you are kind of compromising a few of your habits, go ahead. Once in a while,
Hmm.
it's fine. Once in 15 days, once in 10 days, you have a late night out, you've got a few friends over, you're having some fun, you're having a party, fine, not an issue. But if that happens on a regular basis, then sooner or later we end up paying the price for it. And for me at least, I am done with paying the price. A friend of mine, she plays cards, so she keeps losing. So she says it's entertainment tax. So I'm like, I'm done with paying entertainment tax. Now I want health. And when I want health in my life, when health is a priority, automatically the certain things that you are supposed to do for health, which you and I both know, we start doing them. And then as we start doing them and we keep doing them, in a little while you start seeing the changes, you start seeing the difference. And yes, you do fall sick, you things do go wrong, but then
Hmm.
you had what, 25, 30, 35 years of not a good lifestyle, right? So that is still little bit it comes.
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
and I myself have seen that the severity is not that bad. Like I do get colds and coughs, but earlier it would take me 15 days, 8 to 15 days to recover. Now I recover in 2 3 days. The frequency is not as much.
Right. Right.
So these little wins need to be celebrated, and you just move with that.
Right. 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 So, what I really connected, one of the things you said on the system has, once you kind of worked on it with a longer term goal, the system has it in itself to be able to take some shocks, some short,
Correct.
tiny shocks, like a little
Correct.
late night or maybe a little additional junk food going in or something. Because and that's so apt, because it's not just related to sleep. I think it works with everything. The more we've abused it, the more on the edge the system is, and a slight shock and it goes for a toss, and it
Absolutely.
takes days to recover. And then I'm like,
Exactly.
is this age catching up? Is this why something which was okay like 5 years ago, I wouldn't even like bother about it, now it's taking like 3 days to get over it? And I'm like, wow, age is catching up. But what I'm hearing you say, that it's about years of taking
It's
it
the
for
abuse
granted,
catching up. It's
then
not the
trying.
age.
Yes, this is abuse catching up. You've just done it for too long. And of course, the intensity also matters. Yeah, that's a fair point, Baba. There's one more thing that comes to my mind as you talk about. I want to be fit and healthy, and I'm going to share like two, three close friends and family and their sleep patterns. Okay, and I've been amazed. Okay. And to be honest, I'll also say I've been jealous about the way they are. so, so I used to have a friend, and I mean, used to in the sense, just not as well connected. But this particular individual used to take pride in the fact that he could survive Monday to Friday with like 4 or 5 hours of sleep and then catch up over the weekend. Okay. And I just couldn't deal with that. I mean, I still can't. And I'm like, okay, one day, 4 to 5 hours because of some real compelling reason, I understand. But by the second and third day, I'm done. And I know my immunity is going for a toss, and I'm a wreck. I'm not making sense to myself. I look like a wreck. All of that comes in. And this particular individual is just so great at managing that. So I'm like, see, no wonder he is where he is. And this was years ago. And of course, whatever happened later happened, but there's one example like that. Then there was another example.
So
In
let me
fact,
let me
yes.
let me talk about this.
Okay.
It's unfortunate that a lot of people take pride in depriving themselves of sleep. Uh, the problem with sleep deprivation is that you don't know you're sleep deprived. The person who's sleep deprived doesn't know they are sleep deprived, uh, and it can have tragic consequences.
Hmm.
Uh, a friend of mine in Germany died because a truck hit him while he was driving his car. The truck driver had fallen asleep at the wheel.
Hmm.
This is something called drowsy driving.
Hmm.
And the incidence of fatalities and accidents of drowsy driving are 4 to 5 times more than that of drunk driving. Basically, what happens is when you are going on this 4 or 5 hours of sleep, your body takes micro naps. They're called micro naps. You just shut off for about 8 to 10 seconds. You kind of doze off. And
Right, right,
while
right.
you're
Yeah.
driving 100 kilometers per hour, 10 seconds can finish you up or finish kill somebody. It has happened with us. It's a dear friend of mine in Germany who died because of drowsy driving. So it is not something that you should take pride in.
Hmm.
You should know that you are putting yourself at risk and you're putting your loved ones at risk when you're doing this.
Hmm.
uh, this is the worst case scenario. In the best case scenario, you will find that that person over time will not be able to make good decisions.
Hmm.
uh, they will lose their ability to think really clearly because they will have brain fog more often than people who sleep properly. So, I mean, especially for people who are at your position, where a few hundred people, families, and careers depend on your decisions. You need to take the responsibility, and I'm talking to all leaders of any sort. You need to take the responsibility to see to it that you take care of yourself, because there are so many people who are dependent on you, right?
Hmm.
So it's not just about you,
Right.
it's about just a whole little world of people who are dependent on the decisions you take, and those decisions should be good, and for those decisions to be good, you cannot afford brain fog, and therefore you really need to sleep. You really need to clock in those 8 hours.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So this can work for some time, and people are very good at show,
Hmm.
but they only know what's going on with them.
Hmm. 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 And like you rightly said, no, people don't even realize
Yeah,
that this is happening,
yeah.
right? So for them, it's like this is great. I mean, I have a constitution that just allows me to drag
Right.
on.
You know, there are
It like
there are
you, yeah.
there are sleep labs in the world that have said that we will just let you sleep for anything that you say less than 8 hours. So we will let you sleep 7 hours. In 10 days, we will show you that your body and brain has deteriorated clinically. And there are some
Hmm.
few $1,000 prizes that are there for people who can survive that 10 days. But nobody has been able to win those prizes.
So I got reminded of this Bollywood movie. Can't remember the name. I remember the actor. I can't remember his name also. But the where he was. I mean, he was caught by the villains, or he was a villain, so the hero caught him. Can't remember. And their punishment for him and their torture for him was to not let him sleep. And it was amazing. I mean, in fact, this was before your book, but it was amazing the way that was the first time I learned that it is not humanly within our capacities to stay awake beyond a certain period of time. And that, I mean, they were using it as a means of torture for this individual and literally like slapping him away. And he just couldn't manage. He just couldn't manage. And, he kind of gave into the pressure. But that was the first time I learned about it. And you just touched upon it. So that memory came back to me. I'm going to talk about another extreme in
Yes.
terms of sleep. And again, one more extreme, which I'm jealous of. And that is people who can sleep at will. Okay, so they, again, they could be in that category where because they're so sleep deprived, like we just talked,
Right.
that for them, the minute they get onto this flight and they know they've got this hour and a half, they'll just close their eyes and you'll hear them snoring, and you're like, wow, that guy really can sleep. Okay. And there is another category, which again, I to be honest, I almost say they are gifted, because they get stressed, and their um, resort in times of stress is to sleep. Okay. And for me, and this second category, again, I have specific individuals. For me, it's like, did they sleep like 12 hours? So I know the more they sleep, the more stressed they are, or something's bothered them, and sleep is their way out. And I'm like, oh my god, you are gifted, because the minute I'm stressed, the first thing that goes for a toss, we know, is sleep. Right.
This is one of the things that I do. When I get stressed, I go to sleep. Because
Okay.
stress means there is some problem, right? And when you sleep, the smart part of your brain, the diffuse part of your brain, takes over and starts looking for solutions to the problem. So in fact, it is the best thing you can do. Just go to sleep and leave it to your brain. Trust your brain that in the morning you will have a good solution to it. Haven't you noticed that, Bhavana, that sometimes you're struggling with some problem and then you go to sleep and in the morning you wake up and oh my
Yes.
God, why did I think of that, right? So
Totally.
so this is my go-to solution. In fact, once even Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankar ji said, someone told Guruji, I'm so confused. He said, take a pillow and go to bed. And then he said, if you are confused, the more you think about it, the more confused you will get. So better just go to sleep.
Right.
Let it settle down and let that smart part of your brain take over and wrangle with that issue, because it is not something that your normal brain can do. It's not something that your normal brain can even handle. Right? So the normal brain takes in the information, but the diffused brain, it processes that information and makes sense out of it. So you can think of information versus knowledge and wisdom. So the smart part of the brain will give you the knowledge and the wisdom, but it needs time, and the time is sleep, which is the other reason why I say sleep makes you smarter. A person who sleeps properly a person who sleeps properly 8 hours or more, 8 to 9, 9.5, whatever, depending on their level of physical activity, will be smarter than a person who doesn't. And it's nothing to do with anything other than the way your brain is, made. You are made to sleep for that.
But Baba, sorry, but again, me and my nice skeptical self, um, the more stressed I am, the lesser the chances of being able to go off to sleep.
Correct.
Of course, that brings us back to your book about how can you go off to sleep and stay asleep. So to me, both of those can be challenges.
So, Bhavana, that is where our meditation comes into play. No? Even if you're super stressed, you do a few rounds of Bhastrika, you do Sudarshan Kriya, you have seen the stress melt. Right? So, when I am in such a terrible situation, if I am in such a terrible situation that I simply cannot sleep because of that that's going on in my head, I don't try to sleep. Then I get up and meditate. The meditation calms things down, and then I go to sleep.
Right.
So, which is the reason why we keep coming back that, the meditation and the sleep, they are like two sides of the same coin, and both are required. There are some people who say, oh, but I meditate so much, I don't need to sleep. Wrong. There are some people who say, oh, I sleep, I can't meditate. There is no such thing as can't meditate. Everybody can meditate. You need to learn how.
What about those who, sorry, I am interrupting, but one more category with this meditation and sleep combination. What about those who nod off to sleep while meditating and hence think they can't sleep when they need to
that
sleep?
Is my point. They will wake up at 4 a.m. and come to the meditation hall and you'll hear them snoring. Might as well sleep in your bed only. Know why you are torturing yourself coming there at 4:30 in the morning.
Right. Yes.
You want to come at 4:30 in the morning, then you go to sleep at 8 p.m. Right? You want to do what the rishis did. Now, no rishi was staying up till 1 a.m. and then suddenly you will get up at 4 a.m. and come there. No, that doesn't work. I mean, you have to, if you are thinking, okay, I need to meditate only in Brahma Muhurat, well, then you need to change your
Cycle.
lifestyle cycles so that eventually you can get there.
Right, right.
For
Yeah.
me, I don't see the point. I find my meditation at 4 a.m., the quality is the same as if I meditate at 10 a.m.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I sleep aram say I enjoy my evenings, my nights, 10:30, 11, 11:30 I sleep. I wake up at 7, 7:30 aram say. And
Hmm.
then I meditate.
Right, right. So it's what works best for you.
Exactly. You need to listen to your body, your mind.
Yeah, and I think as I think about your book, um, the number of things that can be set right in a way. I mean, set right because you've got it totally wrong and you've abused, not aged. There are just so many of them. So for me, it's like there's definitely a combination in there which can work. The other thing, Baba, that comes to my mind, one is about going off to sleep, the other is about staying asleep. And you speak a lot about that in the
Right,
book.
right.
So does whatever work for you in going off to sleep also work in keeping you asleep? That's been something which has been on my mind. I thought I'll check with you. How does that work?
No, it's true, Bhavna. Right now, like I told you, our house is getting renovated, so I'm staying at
Hmm.
a friend's house,
Hmm.
right? And the first thing that I noticed in her house is that there is too much light in the room. So
Hmm.
I was getting up at 5 in the morning because the sun was rising, and I was up.
Right.
So then I realized that I have to stay here till about 4th or 5th of January, which is like 10, 15 days more. So I got blackout curtains. Anyway, my
Hmm.
house is being renovated, so I just pulled my curtains out and bought them here. You know, then I realized that the bed is not suiting me. I'm getting up with aches and pains, which is unnatural as far as I'm concerned now. So today we got our mattress here. I think by the 4th of Jan we will have shifted half our house here. but what I'm saying is, uh, until you set the environment,
Hmm.
it is going to be difficult to get that quality of sleep that you are now used to.
Hmm.
I mean, think of it in even in your own, say, in your own office. If you want to be productive, if you want to be at your peak performance, you cannot do it in an environment that is not conducive for you.
Hmm. True.
Right now, some people like everything all over the place and they function best that way. And some people want a very clean desk and they function best that way. And if you put a clean desk person with clutter, that guy will go cuckoo before he cannot function. It is just that environment matters. And for a person who needs his 7 8 things around him, if you give him a very clean desk, he will say dimag hi nahi chal raha hai, right? So
True.
same way with sleep, you need to create a familiar, cool, cozy, comfortable environment for yourself. No
Hmm.
compromises, right?
Hmm.
And we go into that in quite detail in the book. And Bhavana, I have to tell you that we are putting together a 40-day course, a 40-day online course, where every day there will be a small action or two that you will take, so that by the 40th day you are like transformed completely. Uh,
Hmm.
as far as exercise is concerned, food is concerned, diet is concerned, everything. uh,
Okay. Okay.
so we're
When
going to
does
be
that
calling
get
it,
launched?
hopefully by end of January, February, let's see, fingers crossed. We're calling it the Power of Sleep Workshop. And
Okay.
yeah, we're very excited about it. We felt that we can do so much more than just that book. We've really given the fundamentals of sleep in the book, but there is just so much more that is there which can, and those little increments add up. So we thought, for the connoisseurs of sleep, for people who want 7-star quality sleep, we will create this workshop.
Right. That's wonderful, Baba. Looking forward to that. And of course, I have to read and reread, and I have to make my notes because that's the kind of points you've got in there, just so that, in fact, now I'm in a mode where it's like the minute I'm doing something which is like, no, 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 this is not gonna work. I'm like, okay. So yes, a lot of it stayed back, but a lot of it still needs to come and stay with me. As you said, it's about just aspiring towards a fitter, healthier self. And
Not aspiring, saying you are that.
So you are that. Okay. I am
That's
there.
it.
I'm already there. I'm the
Because
best.
if you aspire, you are already saying you are not, and therefore you are giving yourself license to not be that.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
Right?
I'm already the
You
best.
are that.
Okay.
So,
Great, Baba.
Bhavana, it's interesting you brought this up. This is the one thing that attracted me towards art of living in the first place.
Okay.
Because Gurudev, the first thing Gurudev says is accept people as they are.
Hmm.
And he said, you look at a seed, it's perfect. And when it little does that little sprout, it's perfect. And then when it grows into that little shrub, it's perfect. And when it becomes a huge tree, it's perfect. So we are moving from one perfection to another rather than, you are useless, you are pathetic. Now you do these things and you will become wonderful.
Right, right,
Right?
right.
So
Okay.
art of living has been a journey of moving from one perfection to another. We accept ourselves how we are
Oh, yeah.
and we move ahead. Now, how can I be better?
Hmm.
Right? So it's not an aspirational thing because if you aspire, you've already said you're no good.
Right, right.
So I
Got it.
am fit and healthy. I am a wonderful person. And you just live your life like that. And even wonderful people and fit and healthy people make mistakes. So what?
Hmm.
Right?
True, true. Absolutely. I will keep that with me, Baba. Thanks for reiterating. We tend to forget and we don't hear enough and we don't listen enough. So I'll keep that with me. And yeah, I guess I can keep going on and on with questions, but I'm going to take a pause now so that we have more conversations.
Of course, of course. But Bhavana,
It's,
before we end, if
yes.
you could tell me, you are a really successful person, right? Um, well, you are. um, could you tell me like one, two, three things that contribute to your success? What is it? I mean, what is the secret sauce behind Bhavana?
Oh God, secret sauce. I've got that. uh, let's say, I think one thing that comes to my mind, and firstly, thank you for saying you look at me and you think of me as a successful person. That's great. I think we all need to look at ourselves and feel the same, because the minute you start feeling like a failure, I think that's where people go into strange modes, which is very unnatural. I think for me, one thing's been about being determined, right? It comes in various forms, Baba. It comes in the form of persisting sometimes, persisting to the extent of becoming a pain, where people are like, why doesn't she just give up on it? And you're like, no, I'm going to make up my mind and I'm going to be at it unless I felt all options closed, all doors closed, in which case I would have learned something and gotten onto it. So it could be, you could put it in the garb of persistence or determination. But yes, at the base of it sits that conviction that I'm going to be at it. And there's no looking back once I've put my mind to it.
Fantastic.
So I would say that would be something which stays with me. The um, the other which, and to be honest, I mean, you're asking me this now, maybe I would have said something else at another time or another decade of my life. But I one other thing I learned was, um, about being myself.
Wow.
I learned that trying to be somebody whom others think you should be, um, wasn't getting anywhere. So I wouldn't say I kind of was born with this nirvana state of affairs on that. I learned it. In some cases, you try out things, right? Because people are all over trying to tell you, and you touched upon this just 2 minutes back, about accepting yourself as you are and only getting better from there. And yes, people want you in a certain way, and you can try and find ways and means to work around that, but that doesn't mean that what you are is already not good enough. It's like you rightly said about getting better. So I kind of, the minute you said it, I was like, yeah, I mean, this is what I learned, that just trying to be what somebody else wanted you to be was not going to sustain you in the long run, because
Right.
there is a certain DNA,
Right.
and it is worth what it is, right? And there'll always be situations, actions, activities, or whatever in life where though that DNA works best. It need not be the best in everything.
Right.
It will be best for a certain set of people or a certain circumstances, and that's what makes up your life. So the point is about being with that and not
Trying
always
to be
catering to
someone
somebody else.
else, trying to be what other people want you to be. Yeah.
Right. And you keep saying that, don't be what a football of
Of others'
others'
opinions.
opinions and emotions and all
Right.
of that, right?
Right.
And like I said, it's always good to hear you reiterate, because one keeps forgetting, and then one sees how it ties in with what you have in your mind. And I think the last one, and maybe it's also something which comes because of the way my parents brought me up, or how I was sometimes pushed. But it's about getting out of your comfort zone.
Mm.
If you got too comfortable where you were, and life started seeming like a little too easy. And when I say easy, it is about, okay, today did I learn something new? Today did something exciting happen, which was like that aha moment. I mean, days need to be aha moments. They could be your own personal. Nobody needs to gauge you on that. And for me, it's important we acknowledge when we are sitting in a nice comfort zone, because that just means we are not growing. We haven't pushed ourselves enough for our potential to emerge. I keep telling this to everybody. I said, the minute you think you got comfortable, do something which you've not tried, which is so different. So sometimes somebody wants me to speak on a topic, and I know, Baba, you're like the worst person to give this example to, because you can speak on anything, but I'm like 2% there. So for me, it could be like a business, an industry, or a particular function. And sometimes comes a topic where if my first question to the organizer or the person requesting is like, why do you need me to speak on this? And they'll come up with some reason, and I'm like, okay, never mind, I wasn't really expecting you to answer this. But for me, it becomes important to take that step, to build that set of knowledge, to be able to talk on that, right? And it's just a tiny example, but I realize those points are when you add value to yourself and you
Right.
take that. So for me, the more different, the more somebody said it couldn't be done, the more somebody said you can't do it, I'm like, yeah, right, you try telling me that again. So that's
So,
sorry, a long answer to a very short question
no,
though.
that's brilliant. It's fantastic. So the three things that you said, the first one was being persistent, being determined, almost stubborn, really, that this is gonna happen, right? And the second thing you said was being authentic, being yourself,
That's
not
right.
trying to be what other people want you to be, but just being you, uh, right? For me also, I find that a lot of people expect me to be a certain way as an art of living teacher. So that's your problem. You know, I am the way I am, and it's just too difficult to be different people in front of different people. You get I think you get bipolar or schizophrenic or something like that.
Exactly. And
So
Baba, I must say something here, and it's probably very relevant to a lot of people, especially like in the corporate world or in the world of politics. People almost expect you to not be what
yeah,
you are coming across as, and it's a hard time convincing people, I am what you see. There
right,
is no two people here, there's
right,
just one person.
right.
But it's how we've conditioned
Yeah,
ourselves,
yeah, yeah.
the
But
intrigues of.
it must be so difficult for these people to, maintain all those personas. Anyway, I just like to keep life simple, and so this is who I am, and I know I'm a wonderful person. I know you are a wonderful person. I'm sure we'll get along, you know.
Right.
And then the third thing that you said was
About
stepping
comfort
out of
zone.
your comfort zone, having those aha moments. I love that that you said that, because that's something that even I drive my life with. That what did I learn today? What did I where was the shine or the
The
spotlight in
intrigue,
my
the
eyes? The
intrigue.
intrigue, right? So
Right.
so yes, I love those three secret sauces of your success, and I'm sure all our viewers will too. So, so thanks a
Great.
lot. Thanks so much, Bhavna, for giving us your time and this wonderful conversation. And I really appreciate that you took the time out, those 24 hours, and read our book and gave us such a brilliant review for it. And uh, we will keep talking and we'll keep meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Baba. Thanks for having me here. And thanks for sharing everything that you did in the book.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share and comment below. And remember to subscribe to our channel BND TV so that every time we put out a video, you get a notification right into your inbox. Remember to hit that bell button though, because that's when the magic happens.